What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to another episode here on the VJ-VE group build for my G.55 by Special Hobby. Today we are going to be moving right along from our last episode, and we're going to focus on filling up some seams and along the tail planes as well as the underside of the chin. We need to go ahead and make sure that all of these seam lines are minimized and that we can move on to installing some parts. For example, up here on the nose, we do have to install that chin oil cooler. And we do have another oil cooler back in the middle of the fuselage we need to go ahead and put on. And then we have some other bumps and fairings and whatnot to go on the front of the nose, as well as the exhaust ports and all that. So we're going to go ahead and move on here first and focus on bringing down the wing root joint. It's a little bit too proud here, so we're going to grab some jeweler files. We're going to come in here. We're going to remove that. Then we're going to go ahead and minimize that panel line with a nice shot of Mr. Surfacer 500. So let's go ahead and kick it into high gear, guys, and get this thing moving right along. See what we can do. Moving right along, everybody, we are now going to go ahead and shift over to some of the details up here around the nose, such as different fairings, some vents, and then finally we're going to move on to the exhaust stacks and some of the shrouds up there around the front of the exhaust stacks themselves. So we have a lot of little bits and pieces to go ahead and glue on. So like most model companies nowadays, Special Hobby has given us a lot of added on parts and fairings to go ahead and recreate different versions of the G.55. Now there's actually 4 different fairings that go onto the nose here. We have 2 that we just installed here off camera, and those I'm assuming are for maybe the gun breeches or something like that. Then we have 2 smaller fairings that go up towards the front of the nose, and then we have one, I guess a side vent that kind of protrudes out on the right side of the engine, and then on the left side we're going to eventually have the air intake. So we do have a lot of little things to kind of glue onto the front of the nose. But at least Special Hobby is nice enough to give you a good outline of where these fairings are supposed to go. Now using just a little bit of our Tamiya extra thin cement, we're going to make a quick dot right here where one of the fairings is supposed to go. And then we're going to go ahead and just kind of drop this down onto that glue. And I'm hoping it's going to lock right into place. These very, very tiny little fairings and bumps and whatnot, these details are really, really troublesome. They're just so tiny. And because this is a limited run kit, the actual plastic gate between part and sprue, there's a lot of plastic there to go ahead and trim off and to shave down. So you got to be really careful. Take your time. Now on the right side of the fuselage, right around the nose there, we have the side vent that looks kind of like some sort of air intake. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but in the pictures I've seen online and whatnot, this is actually hollow. It's open. Now the plastic part, of course, is not open. It is completely sealed. So we're going to go ahead and just drill out that opening using a pin vise and using my X-Acto knife. We're just going to auger that out, get a nice looking indentation. Shouldn't be that hard to do though, but because these parts are so small, every single one of them is a flight risk. You know, you could be sanding something down or using your X-Acto knife or even your sprue cutters, and you don't hit it quite at the right angle, and all of a sudden that piece flies across the room and you never see it again. So got to be real careful, just take our time. Now that that is nicely glued down to the front of the nose, we're going to take a little bit of our extra thin cement, run it around the area here that we actually augured out. It's going to help to kind of blend in those lines. It can make it look a little bit more tapered. I think that's going to be perfect. Then we'll let that dry and we can move on with the rest of our time lapse. We have to do some installation, install some parts and pieces like the oil cooler vents, as well as a clear plastic piece right there for the reflector part of the gun sight. So let's go ahead and jump in on this one, get this all straightened out. Alright everybody, we are back, and as you can see here, we are actually adding just a little bit of color here for the headrest. I'm using Tamiya Red Brown. We are done for today. Now I was doing a little bit of research there on the canopy. I do need to go ahead and mask that off, but that's going to be a little bit more tiresome than I really want to fool with right now. So we're going to go ahead and let that sit, let everything dry and cure. Next episode we'll be back and we'll go ahead and tackle masking off the canopy, getting everything kind of glued down, and then we'll prime and move on from there. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. Until our next episode, you know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on the next episode of the VJVE group build here on Ben Builds. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.